This show is brought to you by Loud and Opinionated.
So did you see on my Twitter, did you see the video of the accident pileup on an interstate?
Locally?
No, nationally.
Definitely wasn't local.
It was no.
Oh, no, I didn't see it, so I don't know what it is.
It was.
I just saw it on the way over here.
Yeah, it was crazy. These cars, it looks like a video game. How they just like zoom in and like bounce off each other. You know they're going super fast.
Yeah.
And people got to watch their speeds. There's going to be snowing tonight. We're supposed to get 4 to 6 inches tonight. And if you are going on the interstate, you really need to think about how long. It's not that you feel comfortable driving as fast as you are. It's that how fast can you come to a safe stop from the speed you're going. That's the question that you need to ask yourself.
I go like
as someone
40.
that's grown up here. Exactly.
I go like 40 on the interstate. I don't care.
If it
I
is
do
an
not
unplowed
speed.
interstate, if it is only like traffic that is patted down snow, like what I'm gonna have to do after bartending tonight,
me too.
I will be going 45.
I would never go fast on the snow. When I go pretty
Honestly,
fast on the interstate.
I might just take like Des Moines roads the entire way back tonight.
I wouldn't take city roads.
Really?
I trust the state more than I trust the city.
Like the plows to be out on the interstate. Well, honestly, like as
interstate will be fine.
You're right.
The state is like they're on it every time.
I mean, at the radio station, I'm watching 511 every day, so I do see like there's plows on the interstate constantly, especially like in like I-235.
They go out at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, they'll be.
They don't wait.
Be out. They'll be out in shifts.
It's really funny. Our apartment, the people are outside at 2 a.m. Like scraping the driveways and everything. It's crazy the hours that plowmen work.
Yeah.
And I also was thinking, God, they make so much money, I bet. Because I mean,
overnight stuff they probably could do decent money.
Oh, they're getting a lot of overtime this month.
Oh yeah, and I can imagine. I don't know if it's people tip, but maybe people would tip. I don't know how that works. Probably under the table, but either way, make a ton of money. And I was thinking, this podcast thing doesn't work out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start a landscaping company.
Oh, okay.
In the summer, we do all the yard stuff. In the winter,
it's not that hard. It's not that hard to do an upstart landscaping company that does you adjust to the seasonal work. But for now, for the podcasting, we are the Loud Sports football podcast. Well, just sports podcast now, right?
Yeah, it's Loud Sports. You always keep doing that. Ever since
it's because I miss football season, man. I just miss football season.
We got football.
I'm ready for more football. Yeah, the AAF.
I will say about the AAF, I'm not going to be on the wrong side of history because the XFL will be successful. But I think you back the right horse. I think the AAF is entertaining. I think it's a fun league. Maybe it's a little bit because it's new, and maybe it's a little bit because we miss in the NFL already. But I don't know. I was impressed with the legitimately good competition from the first week.
It was good. It was good football, but I mean, quarterback play needs to keep up with the defense, or else it's gonna be awful. That's what's gonna deter it from becoming
lower tier quarterbacking will hamper the offense that these games can have until they adjust. And there are people that will say, "I will be a career AAF quarterback."
Well,
there's not going to be many. There's not going to be many.
That kind of money.
Memphis is a prime example of, like you said, bad quarterbacking isn't going to work. Why they got Christian Hackenberg is beyond me, but he looked
because he's
terrible.
A recent name. Honestly, it's because he was a second-round pick. He has done nothing to produce. If you ever listen to the Rich Eisen show, he's a big Jets fan, and he hates the Hackenberg pick. It's a wasted pick, absolutely wasted.
Yeah.
See, I'm not a Jets fan, so I never
never heard about him. He never made it off the bench.
I heard about him because he played at Penn State,
right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he was pretty good at Penn State, and I knew he was going to be a top pick. So I figured he would be one of the better quarterbacks in the AAF because that's the only name I'd really heard of.
That's the reason why he was successful at Penn State, and
that was a Bill O'Brien coach whisperer thing, right?
Well,
he was there. No, I think he was in Houston at that point.
He did enough.
Big Ten, man. I don't know.
But that's the thing, though, is the Big Ten. That is the critique of the Big Ten sometimes. You don't have to be a great quarterback to win games there. And he was a serviceable quarterback at Penn State, and he's finding out now that serviceable is not going to work.
Not at D1 level. Yeah, D1.
Anything outside of playing at Penn State, that's not going to work.
It's just such a jump from
professional football that's why the age restriction in the NFL, because
it's needed. It
really
really
is.
Honestly,
you would see those young kids they would not be able to produce at all. It would be a shock to most of them.
Well, I agree with sitting a quarterback to start a successful career. As a Packer fan, we've seen that work.
Yeah.
But if you don't give the guy a chance, what is the point where you cut ties with him? Is it after you know Sam Darnold's going to be successful? Like, what did the Jets come out even here, or did they lose? And did Memphis win, or are they getting a bad guy? It's just not going to play.
I think the problem with the Jets is they don't want to admit it, but they are slowly slipping behind the Cleveland Browns to be the worst team in the NFL.
Cleveland Browns are by far not the worst team in the NFL.
No, Cleveland is rising.
That's what I'm saying.
Might make the playoffs next year.
I think the Jets are going to be the next Browns.
Take the over.
I would take the over. I think it's 7.5.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, I'll take that. Okay. What's their
they
schedule?
Have to win
because they have what? They have a third place schedule. So while
fourth place,
they could beat the Bengals.
No, since they probably beat Cincinnati.
I think they're third place.
They'll beat Cincinnati twice.
No, but I mean they beat Cincinnati last season.
But think about how important the third place schedule is going to be when you play against the AFC West. You don't have to play San Diego. Oh, you don't have to play the Los Angeles Chargers or Kansas City. You're playing Denver. That's a huge drop off. And is it a lot easier to beat Denver or Kansas City or the Chargers?
The reason I said that the Jets they're turning into the next Cleveland Browns.
Then they just fired
because,
or are they still about to?
Because granted, the Patriots are in that division, but the AFC East has been terrible for years. And I understand that the Patriots are involved, but when you look at it this way, how can you still be that bad in the worst division in the NFL? So that's why I think the signing of Hackenberg and all that stuff is because they're poorly managed, and it's been like that for quite some time. But back to the AAF. Both our teams won, by the way.
Yeah. Look,
Hot Shots and the Apollos won.
The game that I can't decide who I'm going to be cheering for. I'm going to be going to an Arizona game.
We also, he wasn't here for that. We have to, Brandon has to give his pick for his AAF team.
My AAF team, I don't know. I watched San Antonio. So
that's the game I watched.
San Antonio. I think that was what pretty much everybody got. It's hard because there's not somebody.
Got some Joel Lanning FaceTime, man. I loved it.
There's not a team that's really like close to where we are. I should have a regional.
Right.
Pick.
They didn't really grab the Midwest in a way they could have. Like, we would cheer for a St. Louis team.
Yeah, I would definitely cheer for St. Louis.
Right, baby. Come on.
But so I would
cheer for a Chicago team.
I would possibly pick probably San Antonio, maybe Birmingham, just because they're also kind of cool. But
yeah, San Antonio is the team that I watched that won.
Yeah.
They looked like a more exciting team. Like Atlanta. Oh my gosh, what a dud!
No kidding. Yeah, that was.
Ooh.
I didn't see any of the game really, but 40-0 is pretty crazy.
Orlando.
To the game we watched.
Orlando dominated every asset.
They ran the Philly special.
Did they?
Yeah. Successful.
They had a pick six. Yeah, they had a lot of turnovers and they were just making plays. They look very good. I think Arizona and Orlando are the two best looking teams after that first week. Now it'll probably change, but yeah.
I was gonna say the defense in that one game. There was 6 interceptions in that San Antonio.
Yeah.
San Antonio,
there were a lot of picks.
Game. It was terrible.
That was actually a relatively entertaining defensive game, unlike the Super Bowl, which is a very defensive game and boring as hell.
The no-name San Diego quarterback who, I looked at
his helmet.
I looked at these rosters, and there's a quarterback or two on.
Awesome.
Yeah. There's a quarterback or two on every roster who had name recognition. Like in Memphis, Zach Mettenberger is probably gonna, he's gonna be the guy over Christian Hackenberg, honestly. But San Diego picked a guy that's like, who what is this name? Is this guy? Is he from Jersey Shore?
I don't know who that person is.
And he got popped. Oh my goodness. And that's the kind of play that they need week 1,
right?
For people to say, and they did a great job of jumping on it in social media, saying this is a legal hit, and they really preached that this is okay, this is legal, he did it the right way, and the quarterback's helmet came off later in the game a second time, and I was like, just watch the chin strap, buddy.
that's the thing too, is with helmets coming off. We had this conversation. You just strap your helmet on better. Like it's still going to be a big hit, but that's not going to shoot off like that if you don't have it strapped on.
I never saw my helmet or any helmet that I played on a game that fell off.
You'll get like serious whiplash.
We're going to find out that the AAF helmets are built to pop like the Rock'em Sock'em robots heads, and just for more highlightability.
I thought they tried this technology, and I don't know if they still do it, but there's helmets that like the top will pop off. Like if you get hit hard enough in your head, the top will pop off and be like, "Oh, that guy's gonna probably have a concussion. Let's deal with it."
Wow,
interesting.
So it's like a concussion monitor,
right? If it shoots off like that, they're like, "Get him in the tent now."
Wow, I don't like that. Put that in the CFL.
I don't think it's.
I don't care.
I don't think it exists. I thought it was like they prototyped it, but they never actually used it, and I think that's probably why, because you're gonna have a lot of people who may not be injured. And they're gonna be like, that's the issue you run into. Is there anything else noteworthy that happened in the AAF other than the Orlando looking great?
It's been 1 week.
Who's your team?
I'll go San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Man, I want to say San Antonio.
Dude, San Antonio's uniforms suck.
I thought you were Arizona.
I'm gonna go to an Arizona game.
Oh, I thought you were
because I'll be there. So. Do we know okay, I'm looking right now, live research.
Orlando has the best logo, has the best name, Apollos. I was against it at first, but then I thought about it, and they're calling themselves gods. So, that much confidence. How can you not be behind?
Yeah, but it's like the super narcissistic little sun god.
I hope you know.
Like, pick Aries, dude. I am the god of war.
I hope you know we're going to watch the championship together, and if it's Orlando, Arizona, every time Orlando does something good, I'm going to mime pulling a bow and arrow and shooting it at you. Matter of fact, I'll buy one. I will buy a dollar store bow and arrow.
I want you to get that tattoo on your bicep so you can flex and it looks like he's aiming.
Take aim.
Yeah.
I'm just keep saying that all night. Take aim. What's the Hot Shots one?
The logo?
Well, no, the like their hashtag.
Oh, I don't know, but I know. Yeah, they all did their hashtags.
So funny.
Every school's doing it though. DMAC does hashtag bear down in theirs.
But no, here's what's funny about it is this is why I was laughing at it.
What are you gonna do though? Come on.
There's nothing wrong with the hashtags. I think they're fine. But it's so funny because this is how young of a company they are. They put emojis next to them. So they're trying to make it look like it had one of those special Twitter emojis, but in reality, somebody just click the emoji button.
You do the hashtag and then you put the emoji
then they would put it there
to make it look like it's one of the like Twitter community ones. Yeah.
Which I was just like, that's cute. Iron is Forge On. I don't know.
Iron's gonna be successful, man. The Iron is going to be a perennial champion contender.
They're won
gonna
again,
be good.
By the way, they won today as we're recording this on the 16th of February.
On the massive shoulders of Trent Richardson, the best back in AAF history.
Game, I watched the highlights.
Statistically, the greatest running back in the history of the Jim Brown of the AAF.
That game was boring.
Trent Richardson.
Today. The Salt Lake Stallions against the Birmingham Iron. Boring. It was 12-9. Iron won the game. But it was 3 field goals from Salt Lake, and then I guess the touchdown for the Iron was pretty entertaining because it was he like caught the ball, was trying to punt, and this dude just ripped it out, and they scoop and scored. And I was like, at least something happened there.
Do you know why the AAF is going to be more successful than the XFL?
Why is that?
Because the XFL only has one city that's not in an NFL city.
I do think that's a bad idea.
Yeah. There's only one. Do you know where I looked them up right now because we haven't done research for this. There's a Tampa team, dude.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, Tampa.
That's what I do not. That's why I got into the XFL.
That's why you planted the flag.
Yeah. Well, that's why Orlando's my favorite team because they're the closest to having a Tampa Bay team. I think I got it. I think I know them. It's Dallas, Tampa, LA.
StubHub Center in LA.
Okay, I can only think of 3 off the top of my head. Wait, I'm trying to think of all.
Think of what I just said. Okay, so there's 7 cities that have an XFL team that have an NFL team.
Right. So Dallas, Tampa, LA,
No,
amazingly not Atlanta.
Amazingly, the hotbed of
Football.
sports fandom.
No, yeah.
Any sport,
If you ever want to learn how to choke away a football game, play for a Georgia
that's
team.
probably the only professional sport they don't have in Atlanta.
If you want to learn how to lose a fan base, like just lose in Atlanta, and look at what the Hawks have done. Like the Hawks should be easily one of the most popular NBA teams nationally, but they can't get any real identity, and they keep changing their logo and jerseys, and there's nothing to hang their hat on.
Because the other bird team, the Falcons, kind of ate it all up. But Why
do they need the birds?
I have no idea. Keep naming off the cities.
Seattle as well. Yeah,
It's a lot more spread out in the XFL than the AAF.
I'm wondering if that's a weather decision.
There probably are, but New York
playing in February like that with snow and everything, I think that's why they went more south.
The New York team is playing in MetLife Stadium. So they're playing in an NFL stadium. Same with Seattle's playing at CenturyLink Field, but in Houston.
Yeah, I was thinking Houston.
You got Houston and a Dallas team, so they're trying to bet on a Texas rivalry, spring football. That could take root. Maybe better than the
Texas
AAF.
loves their football.
Exactly. Washington D.C.
That's why everybody wants to put a league there.
Do you think that a Washington D.C. football team can be successful?
The Redskins.
Yeah.
DC.
The Redskins had some success, but with their naming issues and everything, and how they suck and their front office is
maybe
horrible.
that's
Can
a
I
good
just
thing
say
for the XFL team,
Exactly. Yeah. You come in and you take over.
Yeah, and it could continue that narrative. Granted, this doesn't really work anymore, but it can continue the XFL style nature of look, we're more American, and they could name the team like the Washington Generals or something. Make it super patriotic.
Their name is going to subtweet. Their name is going to be so passive aggressive towards the Redskins. It's going to be. I hope so.
I hope it's
Vince McMahon. Don't you let me down, you heel.
I hope it's Patriots. I hope it's something cheesy like that.
God.
Like the Washington Patriots or
the Generals works.
Generals.
The Washington
Generals
is good, but the one where the
You're
XFL,
welcome, XFL.
Yeah, where the XFL
Where's
got
my
it right.
royalty check?
The 8th city, St. Louis. There it is. Maybe
St.
that's
Louis,
why the
yeah.
AAF didn't go there, because the XFL already took it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm interested where
I feel
this
like
goes.
St. Louis would be a good spot for a football team.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
They still. I'm sure they miss having the Rams there, which I don't agree with moving the Rams.
You need a Midwest team, honestly.
Well,
you need to win Middle America,
St.
as
Louis
we learned in our
gateway to
election of 2016.
Gateway city,
Yeah, right.
They're the midway point of the United States.
People need to give up on LA. I don't understand why this is the 4th time we've tried an LA team.
There were people in LA that didn't know the Rams were in the Super Bowl.
Right. LA, you know what LA is great for? The Lakers and the Clippers. It's great. They're basketball
the
And
Clippers,
USC.
And
USC football. USC
is their
football,
NFL
the
team.
Lakers,
USC and the Lakers.
if it's been
maybe a little bit of the Clippers.
if it's been a very nice fall, the Dodgers. But that's it.
I would say the Dodgers. I forgot about the Dodgers. I would say the Dodgers are pretty popular.
More than the Angels. There always is a second fiddle in every, the Jets, the Nets, the Mets.
Yep.
Yeah.
They love their Ets.
Yeah, and they're a definite second. In LA, it's the same thing. The Clippers, the Angels.
Well, yeah, it's the Lakers and it's everything else. I would say USC is probably tied for the thing.
USC could easily be the most popular football team in the city. Maybe not anymore, but I mean, they loved it. Will Ferrell would lead them onto the field. Snoop Dogg was on the field.
Yeah,
They basically are.
they were celebrities.
They were the celebrity football team. Because, I mean, even if think of the other team that was in LA, you think that Will Ferrell's going to be the sideline at a Raiders game? Oh, my goodness.
Well, just
no.
even, I think it's even funnier, too, when it's UCLA. Because UCLA is University of California, Los Angeles, and they're not LA's team. It's USC.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so that's one I'm thinking that the XFL is not making a good choice with.
Going to LA.
Yeah, I
it's a
don't
very
think it's
fair
good.
weather city, sports-wise. It's hard to get a serious foothold, and you're going there after these other football teams. Your draw is that, it's spring football? What makes it different besides that?
Yeah. I don't think LA is
It's
going to
be a lesser product. So why would they go watch a lesser product?
When they
That's
have
what you have to
two of
sell.
The best there is.
Right.
That's why I don't think any of these AAF or XFL should be in NFL cities. They should have tried to find as many they could that weren't.
I agree with you. I think that going... I think there's an exception with Dallas and Houston because, like we said, Texas loves football, so I think there's definitely a market there.
I think San Antonio might have been the best
but
of
I
the
think,
three.
I think
San
they should have.
Antonio is they're talking about getting an NFL team, or they were, maybe not anymore, but they were thinking about teams moving to San Antonio.
But here's the issue with Texas, because you could go to San Antonio, but then you're going to run into, well, why should I root for an XFL team when we already have an AAF team?
Yeah.
It's playing at the same time. It'd be hard to
They shouldn't
make
be.
that
No,
decision.
the XFL and AAF should not be in the same city in any point.
No. Well, then what would your solution be? What other city would you go in Texas other than San Antonio? That's not Dallas or Houston or San Antonio. Where else are you going to go?
Oh, there might be. I mean, there's.
It's a massive state. I'm sure you can find something.
Yeah. How big is the Allen area or Lubbock or College Station?
Well, I was thinking, why not? I mean, not that it's not the same, but I
Technically,
consider
Fort
Oklahoma
Worth.
City very much
Oklahoma City.
Texas.
Yes, Oklahoma City is a city that should have got one of these. Louisville is a city of over 1 million people
I don't
that I
know,
think should have
not
got one of
Louisville.
these. Louisville can work as a pro sports city. I don't know why people think it can't. There's
No,
over 1 million
They
people.
have the Wildcats
It's the
in
same.
Lexington, which would be a lot of that fan base. I would think.
The problem with Louisville is it's the same situation why you can't put a professional team in Omaha. Like the college football team is such a big thing there.
I don't think Omaha could support
No, I don't think so either.
a football team. At this
I don't even
level.
think Des Moines could.
I don't think.
support
Well,
one.
Des Moines couldn't because from people say, "Oh, Des Moines, we should get one of these." Well, we don't have a stadium the size that we would need. Des Moines would have to build a stadium because Wells Fargo is too small for an actual football dome. It really is because like Arena Football League's 50 yards. It's much smaller. They would like what's the biggest stadium? Jack Trice is the closest thing to Des Moines, or what you play 2 years at Drake while they're building a stadium. I
I've
mean,
never even seen Drake's football field.
oh well, it's the blue oval, the track, and it's
Oh, okay. Well, what about the Grandview's football field? I don't know.
Grandview. Yeah, but I mean,
You got to be
it's
careful. We're getting really local here.
yeah, let's do it. Dive local, find it.
I think
The problem with Grandview is it comes down to the stands for an actual 100-yard football stadium. I know that they're not filling up the Legion Field at UAB, and they're not filling up the lower deck in Tempe for the hot shots.
Well, here's the thing. I think
But you still can play it at Grandview. It's just not good optics if you want to put that on TV.
I think that
Not even a stadium. It's just two stands, I think.
that Des Moines would work.
It's the same size as Valley, basically.
I think Des Moines could work, but you'd have to. The way we were mentioning, you got to pick the right stadium and the right situation. I think what worked for the Rams
That's why Alamo Dome is perfect.
was you go in. Have you ever been to St. Louis?
No.
Like when you come in off the
Why would I?
interstate, you look right over. It's like on an overpass. You look over. Right there was the dome. Right there was Busch Stadium. It was almost like KC and Arrowhead and the Royal Kauffman Stadium. They're right next to each other.
Yeah, all
They're
three
in a-
of them in St. Louis. The Ameritrade where the Blues play, and
Oh
Busch
yeah, yeah,
Stadium,
yeah.
they're all right
And
downtown.
They also
all
had
three of
the
them were.
yeah. You're right. So yeah, the arena, the dome, and that were all right next to each other. So you'd have to find a way to. It'd have to be downtown. It would have to be like by Wells Fargo.
Oh yeah, it would have to be in a setting where that's the only way that these other
even-
semi-pro teams are successful is because Wells Fargo is connected to the Skywalk. It's right near everything. Des Moines is growing by leaps and bounds from a downtown coolness standpoint.
So
Where
it
you
have
want
to
to
be in their big arena that were like the Iowa Wild and the Iowa.
Well, it'd have to be down by
Wolves,
Principal
But you'd have
Park.
to find a place to put that then if you're going to build a massive
Right.
stadium.
And how big are the
downtown, it's-
parking lots around these things? It really wouldn't work. It would have to be almost in a suburb. You could eminent domain some land. Oh, I got it. Right. Okay. Outside of the Mixmaster,
on the west side? Or
the
side?
east Mixmaster,
Okay.
northeast corner, farmland between Ankeny and Altoona.
I was going to say between Ankeny and Des Moines somewhere.
Two very large growing communities. Des Moines right's there. You're right on 3085. Or excuse me, 3580.
It's such a
That could work.
ways though.
That's where the airport is.
Well, Levi Stadium's an hour from anything called San Francisco.
That's true, but
But this is Des Moines.
But
this is Des Moines. This is Des Moines. And
Santa Clara is like a desert. Like I didn't even when I was watching the Champions League, I didn't realize how like there's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's why they were like almost like begging people to like take tickets for free by like an hour before kickoff because they couldn't actually fill the stadium.
The Bucks had to do that.
It was it was two southern teams, two southern,
on the far east side,
yeah, that are open
all the way on the
West
other side of the country.
And if the Pac's not in it, are you going to San Francisco? Like,
no.
Yeah, I don't think it was a good location. It's an amazing stadium, but the stadium's location puts it in a bad spot for hosting events like that.
If you're going to be honest, you're better off putting something towards the middle or the eastern side of the map if you're going to do something like that, because college football isn't nearly as big in the West Coast as it is.
Maybe they're probably trying to build college football out west, or maybe
that could be a tactic.
Build. What are you talking about? You're talking about the Conference of Champions, Brandon.
The Pac-12.
They're not good in any.
They're the Conference of Champions.
We gotta have a ranked basketball team in the entire conference.
To go totally off the rails here.
Yeah, we're completely off the rails.
But we have to finish the off the rails conversation because for Des Moines, we got to do that though.
Oh.
What?
This topic is pretty much, could Des Moines support a football team?
But what team could Des Moines support that is the highest level that's available? I think Des Moines could support an NBA team.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean professional sport?
Professional sport. So
like the
Big Four.
Either hockey or NBA.
I would say NHL. I would say
either hockey or basketball.
And obviously we're going as is because we just presented our idea of where a football stadium would go. Des Moines just can't do an NFL team. That's off the table right now.
Yeah.
Because
maybe an AAF team.
With how like fiscally conservative and red Iowa is right now, honestly, there is no way that we would get the 15 to 30% of crowd-funded taxpayer money that it takes to build stadiums these days.
We hate our taxes here.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the state motto, dude? It's libertarian. That's a different podcast.
You've been living in Iowa your whole life. I haven't. So
yeah.
I don't know what the thing is. I think going way back before this completely got derailed, going way back to the Texas question, what about like Waco or like a Lubbock or College Station? Like you said, like smaller market where these college teams play.
We're gonna circle into a loop here, but I think that what I hear you saying is find the mid-sized city that will give you the college sports style atmosphere, and if you're looking at a Texas city, I think the best one, and I was gonna say Oklahoma City, man. The region,
City.
I think looking at Texas
Oklahoma and Texas are like the same to me.
It really is. It really is a region, and everybody from Texas is turning us off right now.
But you could, I know Oklahoma's not Texas.
Hate Oklahoma.
Yeah,
they're not the same,
sir. How dare you? That's like Iowa,
Midwest.
Nebraska, dude.
People call Iowa the entire Midwest. They have no idea. So it's the same thing.
I understand that we just did the same thing of lumping Iowa and Nebraska.
It is. It's so much.
But I think Oklahoma City would be better than any available Texas city.
That's the most annoying thing.
They have really, think of the Thunder as a job interview for the city and a fandom and what they could do. Flying colors past that test. They are rabid. They love the team. They basically
it's all they have. I've been through Oklahoma City. It's garbage.
They had Kevin Durant's restaurant shut down after he left because nobody went there.
Really?
I love it.
That is cool.
I love it. Yeah.
Dude,
own it.
There is nothing but pawn shops in Oklahoma City. I swear to God. I was going to WrestleMania.
I think you're talking of the time you were at Raymond James Stadium and the area around there.
Okay, sir. All right. I've never actually been to a Buccaneers home game. I was at a Rays game, but the one time I saw the Buccaneers is when they were playing Kansas City. Because when you live in the Midwest and you like a team that isn't the Chiefs, that's the one time you can watch them play is if they play the Chiefs.
Definitely. I've been to a Packer game at Arrowhead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Never been to an NFL game of any.
It's fun.
Brandon, we'll go. We'll figure it out.
I was gonna go to the Dolphins Packers game this year, but it ended up getting.
So what I would do.
Couldn't go. But
tangent. We'll come back. We'll loop it to the NFL here. But what I would do first is I would find a non-Packer stadium to go to a Packer game soon because it's going to be less expensive than Lambeau and it's going to be a good experience and you're going to get to watch your team. I would go to US Bank in Minnesota because that stadium looks so cool and so beautiful.
If you guys do that, let me know. I want to go.
And I do want to go to Soldier Field because I've never been to Soldier Field. So if you want to go to Soldier Field,
it'd be cool.
Let me know because
I drove past it once, but
I think that
I've
it
never
would
been
be
to
fun.
Chicago.
I've never been to.
I've been there twice.
I've never been to Minnesota either.
I have been to O'Hare Airport multiple times, but I've never been like to the city of Chicago. I've just like used it as a flyover. Minneapolis is super fun, dude.
I've been to Minneapolis only once.
Shout out Minneapolis and Kansas City as my fun Midwest cities of choice.
I love KC, man.
Yeah, dude.
I went to the Dome for a baseball game one time in Minneapolis.
The Metrodome.
Don't go to the Dome.
Okay.
I guess you can't anymore, but that was a terrible place.
Dude, I went to 2
Red
Red Sox games. Okay, so for like the 3 years of middle school that I decided I was a baseball fan. True story.
Do you even have baseball talk today?
No baseball talk. There's no updates. Besides this is the baseball talk. I went to 2 Red Sox games at the Metrodome because my dad was like, all right, I'll take my son to a baseball game. He likes the Red Sox. It was the worst thing in the world. I saw Big Papi hit a baseball so high that it hit the speakers on the top of the stadium and fell down, and it was not counted in any outdoor stadium. It would have been a home run, but it was not a home run because of how the stadium was set up for baseball.
Same thing. I hate domes for baseball. Tampa Bay is the worst stadium in the MLB. It's so bad. The Dome is terrible, and there's a huge catwalk like in the right field. Lots of people hit that.
No, trust me. That is the only other MLB stadium I've been to outside of Kauffman, and Kauffman blows this away by a mile.
I've been to Kauffman. Kauffman is really
a
nice.
wonderful stadium, and
thank God snow fell into the Metrodome, man, because like.
But seriously, the Rays
football seats as your outfield wall does not look good.
No, seriously, the Tampa Bay Tropicana field is stupid. I understand why it's there because it rains a lot in Tampa, but it's like, what the hell are we doing playing baseball in a dome? Oh, I hit a home run off the ceiling.
Yeah,
like,
both of the new stadiums in Minneapolis are so much better.
Unless it is specifically set up for baseball, because if I'm correct, I think the Astrodome was set up so that it could hold a baseball game better.
Maybe because the Astrodome is huge.
Yeah,
way bigger.
Dude, they've played football games in there. That's where.
Yeah, I know. I've watched Friday Night Lights.
Do you remember
exactly?
Do you remember?
That's my only. Exactly, that's my reference point for the inside of.
Do you remember the NCAA Final Four that was in the Astrodome?
No.
Or I think it was the Astrodome. The stands were like you could barely see the court because it was so far away. Like us to this.
To the board, yeah.
But it's not where
small compared to where the stands were.
It's not where the Texans play though. So it has to be a little smaller than an NFL regulation or what
University of Houston?
What you need for an NFL.
You play where the Cougars play?
No.
They got a pretty good sized fan base.
Well, they probably, all stadiums are a little bigger in Texas.
But I just assume that every single city in the state of Texas just has a giant football field lying around.
High school football.
Well, it's like college football.
And they have stadiums.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Friday Night Lights.
Odessa,
reference.
Texas is basically like what I think of every Texas town. Like
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, that
probably even worse than like the bigger cities because there's so many other schools.
I don't like driving through Texas because they're very aggressive on the highways.
I've been to Texas one time.
Really bad.
80-mile-an-hour speed limit.
No, it's really bad. And everybody's still flying by you, looking at you, and I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just like, trying to get down to Arizona.
I just had traffic jams the whole time.
Traffic jams.
Dallas was awful.
Oh, okay.
That's where Mania was in Dallas and Fort Worth, and it was at AT&T Stadium. Which
did you go to that?
Yeah, I went to that.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I got too drunk. That's the problem. We tailgated and I drank way too much alcohol. And
tailgated for WrestleMania.
Oh, you bet your ass I tailgated for WrestleMania. And it was really funny because it was just 3 guys that we all used to work together. And I went on a whim, or not on a whim, on like a last second thing. Because I was just hanging out and he was actually my boss when I worked with him. But he's like, hey, dude, I got an extra ticket. Do you want to go to WrestleMania?
Wow.
And that was the fastest I've ever responded to a text being like, hell yeah, I want to go to WrestleMania.
Boom. Yeah, that was like me having my friend's dad said, hey, my dad's sick. I have an extra ticket to Lambeau next weekend. Oh, I'm there. Hello.
If it was that day,
I got the gas. I got the gas.
What was even funnier? It was like one of the worst WrestleManias ever. But it was a lot of fun just being there because that's like, being a wrestling fan from being a kid, that's a bucket list thing for me, and I got to cross it off. But yeah, Dallas. There's so many. That's the thing where I think Dallas could work because there's a ton of. It's like here in Des Moines, there's a ton of little towns and cities inside of Dallas and Fort Worth.
Right.
So I think it could be possible.
But I don't think that. I think Jerry's price for renting within that stadium would be way too.
Oh
high.
no, they're never gonna
You
get
can't use
AT&T. No way. Maybe they'll play where TCU plays.
Yeah.
Say there's multiple.
That's technically Fort Worth.
Well,
Dallas Fort Worth area.
And I've heard that they're
Worth
very
is-
serious about
Fort
that
Worth
as
is
well.
Arlington. The Dallas is in Arlington, so it's not.
Oh,
even
it
in
is
Dallas
right.
either.
It's in Arlington.
Yeah.
And it's in the spring, so you're not competing with the Cowboys because you're not going to be able to compete with them.
But I still think that's not realistic just because of who's in charge of Cowboy Stadium.
This topic
you know?
went a lot longer than I anticipated.
Right. So and we're back to NFL. NFL offseason news, Joe Flacco trade. What does this tell us about John Elway?
All right, you guys ready for this?
He doesn't trust himself to draft a quarterback.
John
anymore, maybe.
Elway.
John Elway's a genius. You know why?
Oh,
Joe
bring it.
Flacco is elite, bro. Joe Flacco is elite. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Paul.
He got benched by a rookie quarterback.
Paul, like my Paul.
Last
He's
season is
elite.
proof that he's not elite.
He's elite at throwing 40 yards for pass interference.
You know what that is? That is just typical Harbaugh. They got this guy that's a veteran QB, much like Jim. John's doing the same thing. One gets injured, and you replace him with the shiny new rookie quarterback, a la Kaepernick and the 49ers.
I think
it's a Harbaugh problem. It's not a Joe Flacco problem. I rest my case.
I hear what you're saying with a Harbaugh system.
Brandon is just shaking his head no at me.
I think Joe Flacco is at best a lower tier starting quarterback, a Blake Bortles level quarterback at this point of his career.
You want to hear a fun?
He's got a cannon, but if you can't put the ball where it needs to go, what does it matter?
Paul, listen to the funnest fact of this show.
Please.
Joe Flacco has just as many Super Bowl rings as Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, am I not? Right here? So you know what? Joe Flacco, elite.
Statistical proof.
So your only requirement to be elite is winning a Super Bowl?
Yep.
So I want to hear.
low.
I need to hear your argument for Eli.
Eli's
Eli's won two.
Eli is more elite.
Eli's made the playoffs twice.
I need you.
He's won 2 Super Bowls.
That's beautiful.
Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer, and you know it.
I need you to do the segment on how Eli Manning is more elite than Dan Marino. I need it.
2 Super Bowl rings. That's all I need. That's my only argument. He won.
I'm dumbfounded.
He won a Super Bowl. Won a Super Bowl with David Tyree.
I really think that I won this argument because of how
he didn't
off
win a
the
Super Bowl
rails
with
you
David
got.
Tyree. He won a Super Bowl
got on
with Michael Strahan.
Yeah, you got it. You got a
And,
Super Bowl because of
JPP.
their defensive line.
Because of that defense.
JPP was there, yeah.
Tuck and OCU Manura.
and Strahan.
And
that's why they won.
Hey, Flacco won a Super Bowl with a great defense
yeah,
too.
remember your
Doesn't
argument.
mean he's not elite.
Your argument was about Flacco.
Does mean that he's not elite.
No, it doesn't. Every
Ray Lewis
time
and
Tom
Ed Reed
Brady,
is basically that's the similar to Strahan.
except for the Eagles game, which they lost, every time in the Super Bowl when Tom Brady won, it was relatively low scoring game because the Patriots had a really good defense. Is Tom Brady not elite?
I would not call Nick Foles elite.
He's won a Super Bowl.
Big Dick Nick is elite. I'm sorry.
How
That's
about
true.
Phil Simms? That's the dad, right? He's not elite.
Phil Simms has won multiple Super Bowls.
Yeah, Phil Simms elite. He's a legend.
But he played with. Didn't he play with LT?
What? Yeah, he had LT. He had Bill Belichick.
Okay.
On the defense and Parcells at the top of the coaching tree. Oh my goodness.
Clay effing Matthews. All right, I am sick and tired of saying that just because it's coming off.
Clay Matthews is the most secretive bust of all time, and I'll do the essay on it. No, I'll do it.
I think be a. Oh my God.
He's good at one thing. They focused him into a role where he only needed to do the one thing. He excelled at the one thing. Their defense started to go downhill when they had to move him to middle linebacker. Clay Matthews is an above-average pass rusher, but as a linebacker overall,
yourself.
he's not a good linebacker. He can't cover, and he's so small. He has to launch himself, even at quarterbacks, to the point where he gets pass interference at every sack because he literally throws himself at people.
Paul, Listen to yourself.
Joe Flacco's not elite.
Joe Flacco.
Conversation.
Here's what Joe Flacco's elite. Let me just.
Thank you for the backup, Brandon, on the Clay Matthews, and we'll get the deep dive on that.
I'm sitting with two diehard Packer fans, and they're trying to justify Joe Flacco is not elite by saying Clay Matthews isn't elite in his position. He's not one of the best.
When you said the words Clay Matthews, your argument was off of Joe Flacco.
Yeah, you're the one who brought in Clay Matthews.
Because you mother effers brought in defense to argue me and trying to say that
the Packers did not have a superior defense the year they won the Super Bowl.
No, we were proving why Joe Flacco was not elite.
They had 5 great receivers for Aaron Rodgers. That's
Joe Flacco's elite, buddy. Joe Flacco is elite.
Okay,
he's not as sexy as Tom Brady. He doesn't have the numbers as most quarterbacks, but he is elite.
When he is benched for Case Keenum or whoever they have at that point. I think Case Keenum's going to be gone because of this.
Maybe Miami. Maybe Miami.
Where's Flacco from?
Flacco went to Delaware, so I assume he's from the
Delaware's
East Coast.
#1 export.
Joe Flacco.
Elite NFL.
He's now been exported twice.
I would argue
from that area.
I would argue.
Joe Montana was traded. Joe Montana was traded.
Brett Favre was technically traded.
I said I would argue Elena Deladon's the best athlete to come out of Delaware.
I don't even know who that is, but I do know who Joe Flacco is.
Elena Deladon's
she's an elite, like WNBA Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer.
Well, that's why I don't know, because nobody watches the WNBA.
I watched her in college.
Sometimes there's only Pac-12 basketball on, and you just gotta.
I don't want to sound sexist, but I've never ever seen WNBA on TV. I don't know when it's on.
It's very fundamentally friendly.
It's in the summer. So it's opposite of the NBA schedule.
Oh,
yeah, they have promos during the end of the playoffs and stuff, and you're like, oh, what?
That would make sense because I don't think they would survive up against the NBA. If they
well, a lot of them are in NBA cities. They play in NBA.
LA Sparks.
They play in NBA arenas.
Mm-hmm.
Point is, Joe Flacco's elite.
Des Moines could do a WNBA team.
You guys don't even have an argument. You had to talk about the WNBA. So Joe Flacco's elite.
We're gonna revisit this. I'm gonna come.
No,
I'm
Paul,
coming
what
for
is
you.
your definition of elite?
Paul,
one Super Bowl win. That's it, Brandon.
That's it. That's your only definition.
Yes, Brad Johnson's elite. The Tampa Bay quarterback for the 2002 Buccaneers. No, I'm saying Joe Flacco is elite because he was somebody from Delaware. He was so good at Delaware, he got drafted. Not a lot of people from these kind of schools get drafted.
Oh, come on.
At the quarterback level,
Tony Romo.
Yeah, that were successful.
Jimmy Garoppolo's from Eastern Illinois.
Jimmy G.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Jimmy G string is
Big
really
Ben's from Miami of Ohio.
Aaron Rodgers was at a community college.
Well, Ben the Roethlisberger.
Carson Wentz went to North Dakota State.
Ben Roethlisberger's eliminated because he's a rapist. He's out.
Attempted.
Allegedly.
It didn't. There. No penny attempted.
You know what? He can't control his weight, so he clearly can't control his team either. He's not elite.
No, he's never been in control of that locker room. No one's in control of that
Did
locker
you hear?
room right now.
Are we talking about Big Ben?
Yeah.
Did you hear what AAB said about him today?
No.
But it's on like subtweeting.
He said he's got like a owner's mentality. So like if anyone talks bad about Big Ben, then they're out.
I believe that Big Ben at this point of his career,
Yeah,
the role that he's been in, he's a prima donna. Oh, definitely.
AB basically said that he is an owner,
and you can't have a prima donna receiver if your quarterback's like that.
Can I say real quick back to before I derailed the whole thing with Joe Flacco is elite? I think this is a great trade for the Broncos because whether or not you think Flacco is elite, that's your decision. But
I just don't think Elway's good at evaluating quarterbacks.
Clearly not.
Paxton Lynch.
He just won't touch you if you're under 6'4".
Brock Osweiler, that put off.
He only wanted you if you were 6'6" or over.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the one time he was right. That was the one time
when he didn't give Brock the money.
Yeah,
but then he did give him the money.
Yeah.
He still did though.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Look, if you're in the camp that doesn't think Joe Flacco is elite, which is, I mean, it's fine to be wrong, but if you're in that camp, I still think this is a good trade because he's at least there to mentor a rookie. Like I think he was supposed to do with Lamar, and then he just got hurt. But I think either a rookie or somebody on their roster that is just not quite ready to be.
So I'm gonna bring in the 6'5" guy who's won a Super Bowl to mentor the 6'6" guy that I draft, in the future.
Yeah, you're saying they're going to draft a quarterback this draft? Is that what you're insinuating?
We know it's not Kyler Murray.
No, yeah, I could see them drafting a quarterback just because that's the Broncos' mentality is to keep trying to get quarterbacks.
Okay,
the problem with the Broncos is they think they're still in a contending window with a quarterback. That's their problem.
That's what I'm saying. If you're saying Joe Flacco's elite, you're basically saying with the rest of the Broncos team, which is very good, that defense especially, they will not only make the playoffs, they will beat the Chargers. They're in the same division.
They're still
as the
third in the division.
Chiefs.
Let me tell you a
They're
little
third in the
something.
division right now.
If he's elite, if I bring in an elite quarterback with that defense,
there are two actually elite quarterbacks in that division.
Exactly.
Right. And I think you're going to realize Joe Flacco versus Patrick Mahomes is going to be prime time NFL television. I will say it right here and right now. Joe Flacco is going to take the Broncos to the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win the West, but I think they're at least going to get a wild card 6 seed slot. They will be back in the playoffs.
Mark this audio. We need to start saving
It's a good thing
promises.
we're recording it.
We need to start saving promises. Oh, man.
Book it.
Next topic.
All right, switching to the NBA. So, man, what is going on in New Orleans? Because they let it go past the trade deadline and then fire the GM. I'm starting to be under the impression that they never actually made that ludicrous offer to, or the Lakers never made that ludicrous offer, that it was just leaked and it was never actually that good.
That was a story. They said something about the Pelicans they were just trying to take offers so they could leak them, so they could be a distraction to everybody else. They were distracting their own team. I mean, that team is horrible now, and they still have Anthony Davis.
Right, contractually they're not set up for success because they got Drew Holiday for 3 years, $77 million, which is not a good deal for like this point of his career. They've done a lot of things wrong. They've done almost everything wrong.
Though.
Okay, yeah.
At least they got rid of him.
Mm-hmm. But Gail Benson kind of took a look at what happened before the trade deadline, took a look at what Magic Johnson is saying, and thinking why didn't we trade this guy? And so now I have the feeling that they are going to trade him at the first given possibility this summer, which makes me think Boston's really in the running, especially with what Anthony Davis said today. It was today or yesterday at All-Star Weekend. He said Boston. He said he never said he wouldn't sign long-term with Boston. So he did the double negative to kind of leave the door open. But I can think, here's what I'd do if I was Boston. I would say here's Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, and the Grizzlies' first-round pick. You get potential with Jaylen Brown. You get a leader. You get someone, Gordon Hayward's been playing better, and the Grizzlies pick's going to be good. They just traded.
Enough.
Oh, it could be.
Not enough.
It could, but that's where you got to.
The Lakers team.
You can't.
Yeah,
and
pretty
3
much
draft
all
picks.
of the Lakers team was in that draft.
For one player.
But that Grizzlies pick will be better than the Lakers' first-round picks, and Jaylen Brown has as good of potential as Lonzo Ball or Kyle Kuzma.
But they offered their 3 first-round picks in the last 2 seasons, and 2 more first-round picks.
Okay, so
for one player.
All right, I hear you.
And you're saying 3 people?
Now I
love it. Brandon's really getting into it.
What's the name? What's the name of the GM they just hired? Former player. Can't think of it. But here's Danny Ainge. I hear him say that. Now here's what Danny Ainge says back. Okay, all right, I hear you. So Gordon Hayward, Brown, Grizzlies pick, and Clippers pick. Boom. See, the Celtics still have all these draft picks for the next 2 years, and they have the best trade available to the Pelicans if they get to that. But I think that no one's ever won a trade against Danny Ainge, and that's going to continue whether AD is on the Celtics or not. Danny Ainge, he fleeced Minnesota for Kevin Garnett, and a lot of people say that's because McHale was their GM, and then he destroyed the Nets franchise.
That was not
with
fair.
their trade. Oh, no. He was like, oh my gosh, you just got a new owner from Russia who's trying to buy a team. Let me trade you my aging stars that all need new contracts for your picks in 5 years when your team is hampered by their contracts. Oh,
what a trade.
He ruined a franchise. How upset is Jay-Z?
He ruined the upstart brand new franchise immediately.
So I'll remember
to try and win a quick title.
I'll remember where I was when that trade happened. It was summer 2013. I remember thinking, okay, I gotta think long term about this and see down the road. And I was like, this could be good. This could not be good because I'm as a Kevin Garnett fan. He's my guy. And I was sad to see him go from the Celtics.
That's the whole reason you're a Celtics fan.
Absolutely, completely is. But I was just like, okay, maybe this will be good. And so we got Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, all from this. Oh, man. So you don't beat Danny Ainge in trades. So I'm not worried about what the Celtics do, but the Pelicans could really shoot themselves in the foot, depending on what they do. It's going to be this summer. He's going to get traded this summer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's definitely what I think.
It's a done deal. It's just
Gail Benson has accidentally shown that he will be dealt this summer by firing Dell Demps. That's what I take away from this week.
He basically said this guy messed up.
She said he handled this wrong. I need someone to handle this better, which was weird because right before the trade deadline, the whole talk was like she's an NFL owner that is kind of just understanding how this works. And then as the trade deadline passed, people thought like, okay, well, she said we have a year and a half on this guy's contract. We don't need to trade him right now. But in the NBA, one disgruntled star destroys your season. It's the NBA.
The players matter so much more in the NBA than
It hinges on one guy so much.
One guy
more
can take
than
over
baseball, hockey, soccer,
any other sport.
Right? Yeah, because one star will take over a locker. I mean, look at LeBron. Anywhere he goes, he takes over that locker room. So yeah, one guy will change a lot of things in the franchise.
Which LeBron's going to rise up the hate dart again with his photo today from All-Star Weekend. Tampering rules do not apply on All-Star Weekend with him, Ben Simmons, and Anthony Davis. Should this be okay?
I think it's okay. Here's why I think it's okay. Because LeBron, I mean, what else? You really going to be mad at this guy? I mean, I'm getting so sick of people being mad at LeBron. It's like, what's wrong with... I don't know. I don't think there was an issue. I don't think there was a tampering thing.
I think that LeBron really wants to poke the bear, and he's been doing this.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
But he has a history of doing this even back to high school when he got a Hummer out of nowhere. He grew up in project housing and with a single mom, and then he started driving a Hummer in high school. And there was a lawsuit, and people were looking into his eligibility because of where did he get this money. And he started... driving an RC Hummer around in the parking lot before games. And there's pictures of him like driving around this little remote control Hummer car, like just mocking the attention around him. And granted, that's when he was 16, but here he is like 32, double his life later, still doing like little almost petty things for the attention.
But no, he's not.
It's for the picture. It's the same thing as with the Hummer. It's for the picture.
It's for the picture. But it's not. It doesn't need to be for attention because it's going to get attention.
Everything he does.
He is just like he's like Donald Trump. He can't take a shit without somebody knowing about it. And granted, that's different if it's a president.
But he's very careful how you compare LeBron to Donald Trump.
No, yeah, but that's how I know.
Clutch Sports lawyers.
I'm not saying they're the same person at all, but I'm saying coverage of them is constant. And this is the funny thing: is one of them is a president. That's how popular LeBron is.
LeBron could be president. What if LeBron?
I was just going to say that.
No.
LeBron would win.
No.
LeBron would get he would get the crowd support like nothing else. NBA Twitter would vote LeBron into president.
Donald Trump made.
Oh my God!
Yeah, Donald Trump's president.
That's what I'm saying. Have we not learned our lesson?
LeBron's got to be more popular than Donald Trump.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
But so the question is, and I think this is a great hypothetical.
I don't know though. A lot of people are mad at LeBron because of all the shit he talks on Donald Trump. So maybe he's not as loved as you think.
Last hypothetical question before we get back to the actual sports talk. But if LeBron was president, would he be more of a leftist president because of his upbringing, or a conservative president because of his current wealth?
It's a good point. Probably doesn't want to tax the rich people because he's a rich person.
That is a debate for another day, Jake. That sounds fiery.
That's an interesting.
That will be.
You better come for the king, or when you come for the king, you best aim for the head. Isn't that the same?
I would love to have this analysis on the Jake Williams show.
Let's do it.
Um,
Political pundit.
But that's what I'm just saying is like LeBron, he knows he's gonna get attention. So I think that What's wrong with
But
trolling?
why does he do things to get the negative attention on purpose?
What's wrong with trolling? Why do people hate trolling like that? He's poking fun at it. Like,
but is he supposed to be above that? Is that level of social figure?
It's back to his comment where he said, "I've already done everything. Why do I care what anybody thinks about me?" You know,
exactly.
Like he's like, "There's nothing for me here, so it doesn't matter."
He cares.
He does.
Cares.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't care, but like he's not gonna change what he's gonna do what he wants, and if somebody doesn't like it,
I like
that's
it
just
or
how it is.
Like it or not, LeBron James is in a majority of people's Mount Rushmore of basketball players. So,
oh yeah, if he doesn't,
if
you have a bias.
If you don't,
he's not in your top 4.
I'm
gonna
say
biased.
if you don't think in my opinion,
you're a Lakers fan. If he's not in your top 4,
you don't think
and now
he's in the top 2,
right?
Well,
he is the great.
I think I could bring you a few devil's advocate arguments for LeBron not in top 2 all time. I think I could do like a Wilt Jordan.
Wait till his career's over.
What if he wins a championship in LA? Is your perception change?
No, I think that LeBron is going to
do it.
LeBron's going to be like Tiger, where once he's retired, everybody loves him, like Jordan. You know,
but I wouldn't say that about Tiger.
LeBron's probably mad at Tiger. LeBron will eventually own an NBA team.
Oh, I think so.
They've come around to it.
He will own an NBA team. He'll own the Cavaliers is what it's going to be.
Oh yeah, he's going to.
The writing's on the wall. So he's going to buy it from Usher.
You think he'll be an owner, not a coach?
No, he will not.
I can see him as a coach.
He'll be like MJ.
He'll be an owner.
He's a mogul though. He wants more money.
He's a business guy.
It's like magic.
Why do you think he went to LA? Probably because he's like, I'm tired of going back and forth from my beach house, and this is towards the end of my career. Why not play with the most popular team in the NBA?
The NBA is the easiest sport where former players have success as GMs because they really understand like all the sides of it. Like there are so many more successful GMs in the NBA that are former players, like Danny Ainge, Kevin McHale for a bit.
Do you think
Magic Johnson?
Do you think he'd take Magic's job? Or do you think he would be the
Nobody
Cavaliers?
can take
No, I
Magic's
think
job.
that LeBron.
He's a legend there. There's
LeBron
no way.
is more of a forge his own path kind of guy, and so at that point
I
in
would
his
say.
career,
I could see
what
him
about Brooklyn?
Cavs.
What about?
I can see that too.
What about New York?
or
I could see Brooklyn and
or-
the Cavs more than I could see the Knicks.
Well, I just mean
I don't really see him going back to Cleveland now that I really
I
think
don't
about
think
that
he'll go back to
at this point.
Cleveland.
So to stay in Southern California,
Clippers?
who is the guy that could? Steve Ballmer's not giving up that team that he just bought for $2 billion.
That's a good point,
He
yeah.
loves it. He's one of my favorite owner fans. Steve Ballmer's great. He cries. He literally cries when he's happy enough. He's one of those guys that his passion bucket is full. And he loves it. But here's what's going to happen. Who is one of the few people in the world that could talk to Adam Silver and say, here's why you put a team in San Diego. It's my team. It's successful. It's me. People will come. It's Southern LA. It's LeBron. It's LeBron. 3. It's LeBron. San Diego. I really think that San Diego could have a successful NBA team, especially if you have somebody like LeBron in charge.
You're veering into a different episode.
Yeah, I am. I really am.
You're veering into it. I think
I'll build that. I'll build it.
Well, here's a bigger question. Do you think that do you think Magic was tampering with all that stuff with New Orleans?
Oh, everybody tampers in the NBA. They're all texting each other.
That's why I don't think it's a big deal.
The NBA is
They
millionaires.
tweeted each other.
The NBA is millionaires playing an AAU circuit. That's what the NBA is. When it really comes down to it, it's millionaires playing AAU that are tradable. That's really, honestly, they all know each other. They've all been playing with each other since they were 14. We're just at that era of basketball where if you are one of the top 20 guys in your grade, you know each other. You've been playing against each other on a national level.
McDonald's All-Americans
Exactly.
right away.
Exactly.
Even if you're not even
there's international tournaments.
high school
U16.
teams.
There's U16 America teams. Doug McDermott and Harrison Barnes were teammates on the Ames High School team and on the American high school team when they were playing together. So these guys really do know each other.
That's why.
So it's hard to really find a tampering rule.
Right.
So
they've been friends forever.
So you really have to enforce it when it's a GM and not a player to player, because Draymond has come out and said, I was texting Kevin Durant from the minute after the finals saying, this is why we need you. He said that. So is that tampering? Or is that friendship?
Though. That's after the season, though.
Yeah.
He's not
arbitrary.
He's not in contract.
I agree. It's hard to
after the season. He's not in contract.
Contracts year round. You're telling me that I guarantee you there's things in their contract saying they can't go skateboarding and shit like that.
No,
and
there
so
is.
Contract is year round.
But it's over. His contract was over.
But I think
it's not that.
Okay, so he's
it's
a free
not
agent. I hear you saying that.
His
Okay.
contract had ended. It's not like I'm not saying
now I understand.
Pat Mahomes has a deal in his contract where he can't play basketball anymore.
That's funny. That video came out
in a lot of that's in a lot of people's contracts though. They can't play other sports.
You got to protect your assets. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I don't think that tampering could be a thing because, like you were saying, these players know each other. Like the NBA is very competitive on the court, but a lot of these guys are friends and they're always talking.
I
to
like
each
that
other.
there are some real millennial rivalries starting between some like the Lakers. The young Lakers really don't like Gary Harris and what's his name, the other guard in Denver, and they really don't like each other. And Russell Westbrook is out saying that he's happy that he's blessed with the ability to not give a fuck. He said that. And who did he get into it with? Like a center. It wasn't Embiid. It was somebody. Might have been Portland center. Like last week. But I like that the NBA, they are friends, but there is some real not friendliness showing up between some guys that I want to see moving forward get back to 80s basketball.
That Celtics 76ers could get.
Yes.
I could see that becoming something, especially with Embiid. Guys, just his personality.
Tobias Harris was a really good piece for them to add. Watching how he has played with them, he's very fluid. He's accepted his role on the team.
That team is scary.
Celtics in 6.
Can I pitch an idea to you? Okay. Can I pitch an idea to you? We build on these rivalries because we need more of this in sports. And maybe this is just me being
regional rivalries. We're going to talk about it for college football.
Maybe it's just me being a kid growing up with WWE in my house. But I want to see more WWE style promos these guys are cutting on each other. Post game interviews, we need to make them more entertaining. Like Richard Sherman at the end of the.
I was just gonna say,
that was the greatest.
But people hated on him so much, and so if you're gonna do that, you have to have an orchestrated heel turn, which turns you into a scripted show. So it's a path of no return if you start doing that. It's a path of no return, and guess what? We're gonna see it from the XFL because Vince McMahon. You will never be able to convince me that
this is not the 2001 XFL.
You will never be able to convince me that the XFL is on the up and up.
I'm gonna slap you.
Any storyline.
Slap you right in the mouth.
Vince McMahon.
What's next?
Well, I do have a serious problem with doing the hate dar. I'm trying to update it again, guys. I need some help.
Okay.
Does Kaepernick belong on the hate dar? People are angry because he settled, which was literally the opposite of his Nike slogan.
This is the problem with Kaepernick.
Literally the opposite of his Nike slogan was settling.
This is the problem with Kaepernick. I don't think that his heart wasn't in the right place when he first started this. And I will to this day.
I totally agree with you. I think it was because he lost a starting job. Because people don't talk about that. It was right after he lost a starting job.
Right.
I totally agree with you that it started out for the wrong reasons.
And, well, it's just the door. It's really loud. My neighbors are loud in the apartment complex. This is what sucks about this topic, is I don't want to sound racially insensitive.
There's so
or
many
racist,
bombs.
And it's a minefield.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll say. I think that Kaepernick, it initially was an afterthought. I don't think
like wearing the pig socks.
Right.
That's a bad optic.
I just don't think he understood what he was doing, because if he comes out and he makes a stance like that, I'm not saying that he didn't think it was genuine when he first started doing it, but yes, the pig socks, saying he didn't vote in the election, saying all these things that he wants for racial change, but he won't vote. And it's just if
you want to celebrate democracy, you vote, man. I voted third party because I didn't agree with either people.
Yeah, if you're going to be if you turn yourself from athlete to political activist, you have to vote. You have to take part in those things. So I understand how it's a weird thing where I completely am all for what he did. I don't think what he did was wrong. I think it was the First Amendment right. Probably a lot of people are going to turn off the podcast that I said that. But I don't think that was the issue. I do think that he didn't realize exactly what he was getting into.
I think it evolved as it went on.
And then when he couldn't, and this is where I thought
big.
After he talked to the Marine, it really changed.
And then with the president of the United States talking about it and making it a narrative, it became a much bigger deal than I'm sure he anticipated. And I think this is the problem. I think if he took the reason. I don't think that he even believed that there was collusion in the NFL.
I do.
No, there is
definite
what there
collusion.
is, Paul. I don't want this kind of press for a backup quarterback. That's the collusion. And sir, you could probably make him a starting quarterback somewhere, but he was just too much baggage.
The NFL, if you really think about the NFL, stop thinking of the NFL except for 30 old white dudes and Shad Khan sitting in a room. That's literally what the NFL is.
Sure.
It is 30 billionaire old white guys and the Indian that they let in because
his dad owned it before.
Yeah, and so he has the Jacksonville, he got the new team and he might be moving it to London. But it is really all old white guys besides that, exactly like our government. And I do believe that they absolutely colluded to keep him out of the league. And if you need any other argument, go watch replays of the Bills quarterbacking over the past 2 years and tell me that Colin Kaepernick couldn't do what Nathan Peterman did.
And I
could do what Nathan Peterman did. Give me that money, bro.
I could throw 5 interceptions.
Yeah, I can make a teammate retire at halftime. Give me that ball.
That's amazing.
Give me that ball.
I forgot about that. But okay, yeah. So I totally and that's the issue I'm running into. I don't think that that's not true.
I can demoralize a fan base.
But I agree with you that that's an issue. You're right. It's very much run like the government. And I agree that they kept him out of the league.
You know, I have a list here.
Just pursue this legally and then take all that money.
There's a definite reason to pursue it legally. It's how you fight. How you fight the system.
That's the problem, Paul. He's not living on the streets. He was making money off this whole slogan of stand for something, even if it means nothing. Okay. While he's in the middle of a legal battle, and then he takes millions of dollars.
But counter here. So if you're saying that there are quarterbacks, like if you believe at any point that owners colluded in any way to say this guy we should keep him off of teams, he's doing bad publicity. If you believe in any way that was happening at any level, then you are by default saying he lost future earnings because of what they decided to do without his consent. And that I think, even if he can put all the money that he got towards activism. I think it's okay that he took the money, and that's why. Because collusion is different than social justice. You know, honestly, he should take the money because they cost him earnings because of what he did.
I mean, yeah, get your money. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so hard to.
How much was it worth? You know,
they never disclosed the full amount.
Oh, here's the best part. Kaepernick sent a secret message to America telling us how much was in it, because there was he signed 2 things. He got the collusion settled, but he also signed a non-disclosure agreement, and so did Eric Reed. So they are legally not allowed to disclose how much money they were given by the NFL owners. But how much did he ask the AAF for?
$20 million.
$20 million. Which seems super out of the range of the AAF and not realistic, right? I think he found a way to tell us that he got $20 million, dude. I heard it was like 50. I've heard rumors that it was 50. I heard rumors that it was 80, and I'm like, I don't know. I really don't think that's realistic, or that could be to the 2 of them combined.
Right. Where it'd be 40 apiece.
But I think Eric Reed got less because he's on a team.
Yeah, he's on an NFL team now.
Yeah, he missed half a season and got signed.
So that's, to me, in a nutshell, that's the issue with Kaepernick. Is I see multiple sides to this. It's not black and white.
Ha!
And oh, jeez, I didn't even intend for that to happen.
Neither's he.
Pun not intended. Pardon my. I really didn't mean for that to be a thing, but Paul made it a joke. So anyway, I think the only reason you could make the argument for him to be on the hate dar is because trying to take $20 million from the AAF when majority of those players are making 6 figures barely.
Yeah, it was like average.
They don't even make 6. There's
only 5.
From what I read, every player has the same contract.
Correct. Right. That was what I was seeing too.
And it's a 3-year, $75 a year, so $250,000.
I saw something that said
that would be
$250,000.
They're
barely
making
6.
It's $75,000 a year.
They're all making in the within the $200,000 range on 3-year contracts.
In 3 years total. Not every year.
I saw some things that said 3 years for a total of $250, but then I also saw some that said the 3 years for $75 a year, which comes out to
$250.
Yeah. Oh,
it's the same.
Excuse me. Then I saw some for $215. I was like, okay, I'll give a running back $215 instead of $250.
But that is why I think he could be argued to be put on the hate dar, because $20 million for a guy who hasn't played in 2 years almost.
But I think that maybe he should not be on it because
Because of his activism?
Because it actually is. If it's collusion, that is lost earnings that he's entitled to. Because he took him to back-to-back NFC championships, went to a Super Bowl, and then Ray Lewis prayed to Jesus, and you can't win when that happens.
Let's keep in mind he killed a guy. Allegedly.
He killed a guy.
Allegedly.
Oh my God.
It's like OJ. Allegedly.
Every time that's brought up, I just think of the Saturday Night Live skit of that. And I know I'm going to say this every time we mention it. The Saturday Night Live skit of the Super Bowl blackout and like making fun of the announcers trying to fill an extra hour and a half of that blackout time. And they're like, Shannon, do you have anything to add about how the game's been going so far? And Shannon Sharp's like, Ray Lewis is playing good. And he knows who killed those people because it was him. And they're like, okay, cutting away to a promo. Two broke girls.
That's what I'm talking about. It's complicated. But
yeah, it's
complicated.
I think it really depends on what he's going to do moving forward. Because if he just slides into obscurity, what a sellout.
What's his next?
What are your moves moving forward? That's what comes down to it. Because he's still getting the Nike money. And maybe there was something in the NFL settlement that said he couldn't play professional football for X amount of years or months.
Right. I don't know.
All sorts of things get signed where you sell away rights, man, that you don't think about. Like Pat Mahomes can't play basketball. It sucks.
It's worth $200 million.
Yeah, that deal he signed, well worth it.
Yeah. So little college basketball, it is that time. We have new football to talk about. It's exciting. But it's starting to be real college basketball time.
Okay.
Iowa State beat K-State today.
Iowa won today as well.
Yeah, Iowa State is looking to be the first team to fully take the Big 12 regular season from Kansas in like the past 14 seasons.
Nebraska still sucks.
Nebraska was ranked at the beginning of the non-conference,
Nebraska was ranked when Iowa beat them 2 weeks ago.
And then I watched them. I was bartending last week.
Nebraska started real strong.
I watched them play Minnesota.
Now.
They're struggling in the Big Ten.
Yeah, which is understandable. Big Ten has a lot.
The Big Ten the Big Ten is very good.
Well, Iowa struggles once you go on the road in the Big Ten. There's not a lot of easy places.
It's
honestly.
Michigan State,
everywhere.
Ohio State.
Yeah, and it does seem like I've heard some games this year where Fran just gets frustrated and the game just kind of gets away from them to like an 8-point deficit where you didn't really see that coming from 2 points to 8 points because Fran's yelling at a ref instead of trying to call a play. And I think that the Hawkeyes could have 3 more wins than they do right now, especially within the Big Ten. There's a few that's gotten away.
I think they should have beat Michigan State the second time. The first time they got destroyed. I think they lost by 20, but
the Michigan's a great win.
Michigan is a great win, and they're
in the top 10 at the time, weren't they?
Michigan was number 2, I think. That was their second.
Or top 5 was
they were number 2.
Do you know what's crazy is that was like the 29th or whatever anniversary of the day that they beat Michigan on the day after Chris Street died.
Huh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's kind of surreal. Yeah, but I saw. It might not still be accurate, but there was a prediction that Iowa and Iowa State would play in the round of 32.
The only thing I saw was Iowa State and Iowa were not even in the same. The only way they would meet is in the national championship game.
You didn't see them on the same side of the bracket.
No,
I saw one with them on the same side of the bracket, playing on the West Coast.
This was right after they released the top 16
as like a 4 and a 6,
and they had what I saw had Iowa State as a 4 and Iowa as a 5 seed on opposite sides of the.
I want them,
That would be a really cool.
But the good thing is, it would be cool to see CyHawk.
The committee does that though. The committee actively will do that. They will put it so you get a historic rivalry matchup in Sweet 16 or something like that. Like when the only time that Kansas has played Wichita State is in the tournament because Bill Self has said on the record, he says, "Why would I schedule Wichita State in any capacity? Because what do I have to gain from them coming here? We beat them here, or they upset us here, or we go there and they storm the court when they beat us, or we beat them there. It would kill me recruiting wise within the state. Bill Self has said there's no reason for me to play them, but he had to play them in the tournament,
and that was shocking.
Think about.
I'm really proud of that one.
Love it.
Iowa State, Iowa in Des Moines. round of 32.
I don't think we could get it in Des Moines, but if we could get it,
you know how fast that would sell out.
do you know the great thing about both of these fan bases is anywhere in America outside of New York City,
they would go,
or maybe LA. You know, these are two incredibly traveling fan bases.
Yep.
Iowa, you know, because of level of success, Iowa has shown they do great for bowl games more than the NCAA tournament, and Iowa State overruns Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament, and the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I saw a quote from a guy it was on Twitter. I think it might've been Chris Williams that said, "I'm in line to check out the Alamo." And the older guy in front of me in a Washington State sweater said, "These Cyclone fans think they own this town." Because they do. They both travel really well. And so I think no matter where it is, it would be super awesome, because what in any sport has had more bragging rights than that game for Iowa and Iowa State?
Yeah,
especially in the NCAA tournament.
The CyHawk Trophy is the CyHawk Trophy, but it's non-conference.
It's not the NCAA tournament.
It doesn't exactly.
Right, it's not for a championship.
This is survive in advance.
Yeah, it means everything.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be funny.
We beat you to go to the Sweet 16. Yeah, how'd you do?
Could you imagine?
Yeah, even the game earlier that year would be just swept away.
It wouldn't even matter.
Here's the thing:
if Iowa State would beat them in the NCAA tournament, it wouldn't matter that Iowa won in the regular season.
I don't see this Iowa team beating this Iowa State team later in the season. I mean, come on. If you've watched both, now that Iowa State has chemistry between CyHawk being a team leader and those freshmen playing amazingly, I think Iowa State's a lot more dangerous now than they were. Come on.
The Hawkeyes can finally play defense. We can finally play defense.
It's Michigan way.
I wish my team was good.
We score 85 points a game. We can finally play some defense.
Did I send you the phrenolometer?
Yes.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
Here's a thought.
Bohannon's on a tear.
Imagine, tying this back to football, imagine if Iowa and Iowa State played each other, and why have they never played each other in a bowl game?
That's been a talk like multiple times.
But imagine they played in the college football.
I wanted it.
How insane
honestly,
that would be.
Not this season, but
never
last
would happen,
season.
But
I wanted it to happen with Lanning and Lazard's when they went to the Liberty Bowl. I think that would have been the prime year for an Iowa State bowl game.
Well, this year would have been as well.
This year would have been good.
They were both 8-4, weren't they? Or what was Iowa State's record this year?
Iowa State was 9-3. I think.
No,
they were 8-4. Yeah,
I think they were 8-4.
I think they were both 8-4.
Jumped into the 20 rankings, late in the season.
Both of them were ranked in the same spot for basically the whole season.
And I think that would have been more interesting because I think, as we've discussed before, not on the air, but while we were talking to each other, I think that I agree with Paul that Iowa State gets better as the season goes along. So I think the matchup would be better between those two.
So a bowl game or an NCAA tournament game, which matters more?
I think it would be big if it, again, that would be a long shot for it to happen. But if it were here in Des Moines with those two, I think that would be the biggest thing for that rivalry because it's showing that it really is bigger. It's outside of football, you know what I mean? It's multiple sports.
For both of those teams to get like the Midwest region that would have Des Moines like as a host, like one of them would have to be the number one, honestly.
Right. It would be
it would be hard.
No, I don't think so. As long as one of them was a top 4 seed, I think they would have a very good chance of getting in Des Moines.
But if you're
either one of them, it wouldn't matter. And both of them have a chance to get a top 4 seed as long as they play well in their conference tournaments.
And if you're the NCAA, you're gonna want that money because that is gonna sell out. Fast.
That's what I was going to say.
They're going to make
either one of those teams.
Oh, yeah.
You would see Wells Fargo.
Even from a TV standpoint,
you would see standing room only. You would see how many people could fit into Wells Fargo.
Speaking of which, we mentioned it first, committee. So if you set that up, send us tickets.
Yeah, definitely.
6 tickets, please.
We'll cover it for you.
Yeah, we'll be right there, live. That'd actually be pretty fun. We should do that. Do like a vlog. A loud sports vlog.
We could do that. Yeah,
if it ever happens. I'm just saying, NCAA, I know you're listening. Think about it. I didn't mean it when I called you guys slave drivers. I mean, I kind of did. Is that it for this episode, or we got more?
Oh, I got a list.
Oh, boy.
I got a list.
It'll be 2 hours long.
I brought this for you. I said I was going to do it, and I have a list.
It's a hefty one.
17 quarterbacks that could do what Tom Brady has done. Just to be fair, I have a maybe and a no list. So we're gonna be doing these all together.
First question.
Yeah.
Where's Joe Flacco?
Joe Flacco is the top of the maybe list.
All right.
Maybe.
See?
All right.
See? Now I'm realistic here. So here's the maybes, and now there were many factors that went into this, and the most important factor to me was durability. Can you do what Tom Brady has done because he held up for 20 years? So one of the biggest things I looked at is quarterbacks that not only played at a high level, but the consistency at the high level is what really matters. Okay, so some no's, all right? And the no's were mostly, same with the maybes, age or injuries. We just haven't seen them. They didn't pan out, or they're injured too much. So some no's: Andy Dalton, Carson Wentz, and Cam Newton. Carson Wentz, people are going to argue with. That's going to be my first arguing one.
Carson Wentz won. Technically, was a part of us.
Yeah, but he's been injured now 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. He's only been in the NFL for 3 years.
Yeah, Drew Bledsoe, is he a Hall of Famer?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head, but he is a multiple Pro Bowl quarterback and wasn't durable enough. Tom Brady took over. So that's my Carson Wentz argument.
Okay, the Super Bowl 51 though, that championship. He got injured very late in the season. It was, I don't know, probably when they played the Rams, I would say
Carson
probably,
Wentz. That was like week 13.
Yeah, it was late.
Even if you think that he could do that, though, he's still like only 2 years in, and we've seen a total of 20 games from him.
But they were in the top.
He was at an MVP level. He was probably the front runner for MVP before he went down last season.
It's easy for a young, physically talented quarterback to be an MVP because people aren't used to it. Michael Vick, Pat Mahomes. If they're not ready for you, if defenses aren't ready for you scouting-wise, it makes a big difference.
Carson Wentz is a pocket. I mean, he scrambles sometimes. That's how he got injured, but he is a pocket passer more than anything else. So it's not necessarily the same as, say, an RG3 or a Mike Vick, but he did guide them. I mean, they were a number one seed in that.
He's obviously good enough to keep his job over Nick Foles.
Yeah,
because I think
that still has to play itself out.
Paul, you have to factor in that he does have a ring. Is all I'm saying. Because he still was part of that team.
So does Brian Scalabrine for the Celtics.
Yeah, but he's
the White Mamba.
White Mamba. Oh my God! Best post game quote of all time was when he was asked, "Does it matter to you that you played 0 minutes in this series?" And he said. He's got his kid like on his knee and he's like, no, are you joking, dude? 10 years from now, like I'm going to be talking about how well I did. And 20 years from now, I'll tell my grandkids about I was starting. And, by the time I'm old and telling everybody, I'll say I was the MVP.
Good Lord.
He's amazing. I love listening to his content. Next one down.
Sounds like something I would say.
I think somebody's going to argue with this one, too. We have a Super Bowl appearance from Cam Newton, but he could not do what Tom Brady did.
Cam Newton's a no.
Durability-wise, play fit-wise, he missed
his window of opportunity.
Durability questions also team-wise. Offensive line
leader-wise,
very, very good. Like you can't make that argument. Not every offensive line is very good.
I don't think that he could get along with Belichick.
Why didn't he dive? That's what I gotta say.
Next one, Jameis. Jameis couldn't do it.
No.
I need
a Buccaneers fan. No,
I need it from the Tampa guy.
No,
not a chance.
He's not. I mean, I'm sure if he doesn't have the best season statistically of his career, he's done. He's done in Tampa. Should have been done after this year.
Here we go. I'm gonna give you two maybes. Okay, Joe Flacco, who you said earlier was elite.
Already has one. Only needs 5 more. He's elite.
I think that Joe Flacco possibly in the situation, he's a guy that just kind of takes orders, goes out, does his job. He's consistent. And in a Belichick system where you dump off to the running back and you don't have too much super
or throw the deep ball.
Tom Brady does not go out and say, I'm going to make this, I'm going to extend this play. That's not his thought. His thought is, I need to wait 4 seconds so I can hit Edelman over the slant.
Or drop
James White.
Exactly. So he's not the gunslinger type of guy. And that's also what I see from Joe Flacco as a pocket passer. So I think that's a possibility that Joe Flacco. Another maybe, Carson Palmer.
No. He was injury prone throughout his whole career.
I hear you with the injuries, but late run with Arizona, he was playing late in his career at a higher level.
NFC took him to an NFC championship.
Yeah.
And they got blown out, but he took him there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, some yeses. No matter what, these guys could do what Tom Brady has done. Russell Wilson.
Yes, I think so. I think
Russell Wilson could do what Tom Brady did.
Russell Wilson he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He's really fun to watch too. I love Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson is a play extender. Russell Wilson is a guy
he's the opposite of Tom Brady.
Yeah, right.
The exact opposite of Tom Brady.
I can see Russell Wilson doing
Russell Wilson, because he's also a great guy to like just understand, like keep his head down, come in, learn the system, and do the work. You know, he's going to be told what to do and learn what you tell him to do. Versus some quarterbacks, like I'm going to have a huge maybe for you later that I'm kind of saving. Where I'm like, this is not because I have a Hall of Famer who is a maybe because I think that he couldn't work under Belichick as a quarterback. Okay, but Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Peyton Manning could all easily do what Brady has done.
Yeah.
The only question is, we're looking at Aaron Rodgers as a durability question. This is a second collarbone, Brandon. Little tangent into Packer talk. Are we worried?
And the first game with his knee, like this past season.
You're not worried?
I'm more worried about Brian Bulaga than I am about. Aaron
Brian
Rodgers.
Bulaga could have been shipped out of town 2 years ago. I would have been fine.
Probably should have been.
You want me to start the clock?
He hasn't played in 2 seasons. He's always injured.
Yeah. Okay. More no's, man. Ryan Tannehill could not do this. Injuries.
No.
He's been statistically like
he's an average quarterback.
He's a serviceable starter.
Yep.
For the price tag that you have to give him.
He's a middle of the pack quarterback.
Exactly. Another guy that couldn't do this kind of for the same physical limitations as Ryan Tannehill, and they're just not going to potentially like reach the level of some of these other guys. Alex Smith can't do this, man. And the backwards mirror of Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins could not do this either.
Good Lord, I feel so bad for Alex
did you
Smith.
see him get roasted on Twitter? Oh my gosh. He said, like, what should I do? He said, like, what is a gift that I can give? Like, trying to be nice or something. I can't remember exactly what he said.
You're leaving
and everybody was like, give the money back, give the money back, give the money back.
People are so brutal, man.
And there were some, my favorite was, we would love a win against a team with a winning record.
Oh.
That cuts him. And he's a nice guy. He's a very devout Christian. He manages,
loves his wife.
Like, he's a very, like, he's kind of like the Phillip Rivers type where.
Wait, are
He's
we?
the
Who are we
Phillip
talking
Rivers
about?
type.
Because I think you're talking about Kirk Cousins.
That's Kirk Cousins.
You said Alex Smith.
I said Alex Smith and then Kirk Cousins.
Okay,
They're both on this list.
I thought you were talking about Alex Smith, but I was like, that sounds like Kirk Cousins.
You have to say them together.
I mentioned the leg thing with the knee, and then you immediately like transitioned into Kirk Cousins. So I knew where he was going with it.
If you say Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins, they're the same quarterback. They're like the exact same.
Alex Smith was drafted higher than Aaron Rodgers. Alex Smith was the #1 overall pick, and Aaron Rodgers was on that draft board.
Shout out to Urban Meyer, like just promoting your player, you know, because he was Alex Smith's coach. Like that's Urban Meyer just sells players to the NFL draft like Aaron Hernandez andAlex Smith.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I would put those two together. Alex Smith didn't kill a guy.
Look at the pattern here.
You tell me Alex Smith is a serial killer or something?
No, I'm telling you that he's...
I know what you're saying. I got what you're saying.
All right, what else do we have here? A few more yeses. Roethlisberger, yes.
I'll give you up.
Durability, maybe a little like head issue, prima donna, as we said earlier.
I made fun of him, but yeah, he consistently... He's
been to 3 Super Bowls.
And he's never had bad seasons.
One is a rookie. No, he doesn't have bad seasons.
Even this past season when they didn't make the playoffs, he still had a statistically good season. Mm-hmm. So I would agree with that.
Andrew Luck could do this, I think.
Yeah.
He's almost a maybe, but
that's my argument with the offensive line. New England's offensive line is so much better than what Indianapolis's was when he was getting injured.
Even now with a good offensive line,
Andrew Luck,
they got blown out in Kansas City. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
No, but he's not playing with New England. That the offensive
true.
That's a different argument.
You know who else could do this?
New England, he could do it for sure.
You know who else could do this? 28-3. Matt Ryan could do this.
No, we can't.
Matt Ryan could do this.
No.
Matty Ice is an MVP.
Matt Ryan's a yes.
Matt Ryan is statistically a guy that goes out within a system, can hit the receivers in the right spot.
Cam Newton is a no on your list, and he's an MVP. So I don't know what your criteria is here. But Matty Ice.
My criteria is I'm going to put that as more of an player IQ
28-3 proved to me that Matty Ice can never be a championship quarterback. He's not very good, man. He folds under pressure. Also, keep in mind, I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. So I will not give any Falcons player any credit. I hate them.
I think
you got to give Julio credit, man.
Julio is one of the greatest ever.
As long as we're not talking bad about Julio, we can move on.
Matt Ryan, you can argue, but like Julio, no way.
All right, some maybes.
Way better than AB, by the way.
Could Derek Carr do it?
No.
It's hard to tell.
Well,
yeah, I put him as a maybe, and I'm leaning toward no.
I would
he was
slide him,
hyped. He had potential.
I would slide him into maybe because he's also very much like Andrew Luck in a situation where he doesn't have the offensive line.
It's hard to tell what Derek Carr is.
He's not in a situation where he can show
critique.
off. You know,
he hasn't had any help
last year because he didn't have a line last year. He was on
like
his back. All
like
the time.
he's had
They're
Amari
trying
Cooper.
to lose games right now. Like
Yeah, they haven't had any talent though in Oakland. No offensive talent
right,
at
and
all.
the only thing he had was Amari Cooper.
Yeah, and they got rid of him.
Marshawn Lynch was a ghost.
a retired Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know who is a maybe and probably could not have 6 rings? Brett Favre couldn't do this.
Wow. The Packer fans saying Brett
Favre.
Favre.
I don't know.
Bro, I don't think Brett Favre could do
He
this.
threw too many interceptions.
I think
he was
Brett
too much
Favre-
of a gunslinger.
I think Brett Favre is a little too ad lib. You know, he's a little too. I'm gonna audible.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He like set the record for the longest Hall of Fame speech, and then Ray Lewis broke it.
Because I remember that like the Packers.
He had a
drafted
34-minute Hall of Fame speech.
Packers didn't draft Brett Favre.
No, I mean I'm
No, they
saying
inducted him into their Ring
to
of Honor.
their Ring of
I see,
Honor.
okay.
So I knew, and I was like, I wonder if that was
I
the same
see.
year. But yeah.
I thought you said he was drafted by him.
No, he was.
No,
he
that
was drafted by
Atlanta. I have a Brett Favre rookie card.
You have a Brett Favre Atlanta
do.
card.
See what I mean?
That's cool.
See what I mean, America? NFL, the Atlanta Falcons are a garbage franchise, and they always will be. At least
Hey,
my
they drafted
team.
Brett Favre.
All Atlanta franchises.
They got rid of
My
Brett
team
Favre.
at least has one. Atlanta. How does that taste? 28-3.
Atlanta franchises can reach the top, but not win it. Braves, Hawks, Falcons.
To be honest, Falcons are the only ones I hate. I don't. Panthers, whatever. Saints. I like Drew Brees, so I don't hate the Saints.
That's just your
I hate the
divisional
Falcons.
bias. Drew Brees could do this.
Drew Brees could.
Definitely.
Drew Brees could do this. That
He
is
had a
like
defense. He could. Sure.
like more than Aaron Rodgers, more than almost anyone on this list. Drew Brees is like the lock that he could do. He could step for step do what Tom Brady does in fitness, competition, drive.
He's 40-year-old quarterback in the NFL playing at an MVP level.
He's
Tom
played
Brady.
longer than
And he
Tom
will-
Brady.
they are
too.
And he will
insane.
grab his tackle by the collar and yell at him like Brady yells at his offensive lineman. Drew Brees could do this without a doubt, not a question. Nick Foles could do this too. Yeah, he could. Yeah, he could.
Woo, man! You play really well in one Super Bowl. Almost like you're trying to say he's like Joe Flacco.
He's had
here,
very
but
good
Joe
seasons.
Flacco
Nick Foles is a
No,
It's
you
hard-
got to think of within the system here, and the quarterback fit within the system.
So yeah, though Joe Flacco would work, and so would Nick Foles. Is that
Joe
what you're saying?
Flacco is more of a maybe than Nick Foles. Nick Foles
Joe
is a yes.
Flacco would be fine in Belichick's.
Joe Flacco is not mobile and he can't create on his own.
Neither is Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not very athletic.
That's a solid point. You know, Phillip Rivers could do this. It would have been nice to see him win some Super Bowls.
See, that was Brett Favre was probably your Hall of Famer. I thought you were going to say Phillip Rivers as your maybe.
Oh no.
That's who I thought your maybe.
I
was
have
gonna be.
another Hall of Famer that's a maybe, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Who's that?
No, Phillip Rivers could do this, right?
I'll take. But I thought Phillip Rivers was going to be your maybe.
Phillip Rivers could do
I don't-
this.
I
I
don't
think
believe
Phillip.
it.
He's
I think
consistent. You know,
yes.
he's had so many. He buys in with new head coaches. He can lead a team.
No, you guys are so full of. Why are you defending Phillip Rivers as elite and not Joe Flacco when Phillip Rivers can't even win in the playoffs?
Phillip Rivers is going to.
What has he done, Paul?
He's going to have Hall of Fame numbers by the end of his career. He's going to be top 5 in like completions, yardage. Oh, same with another guy on this list that we're going to get into.
He's
an
the only
argument
one of
about.
that draft class that doesn't have a ring. What does that say?
Dan Marino doesn't have a ring.
That's a fair point.
Football's more of a team sport than that. LeBron can propel his team to a ring.
Much like to the Brady.
Quarterback cannot, because quarterback can't rush the quarterback. You know
LeBron beat the 73-win Warriors.
exactly.
Oh, he carried that team to that.
You know who else could do this? The mouth breather. Eli Manning could do this.
For sure.
Eli Manning could do this. We have both Mannings on here.
Oh yeah, but I think both Mannings could do it.
Some no's. Matt Castle couldn't do this. He
No.
could do it for one season.
Yeah,
He
he
did it
won-
for one
He did it
season.
for one season, but then he got paid and he didn't do anything. So he's a no. Same with Matt
Oh,
Flynn.
he pulled a
He's a no.
Fitzpatrick, huh?
Yeah, he took the money, man. Heist, baby.
Except for Fitzpatrick was 2 games, not a whole season.
So based on durability, Sam Bradford could not do this. Sam Bradford could not do this, and Tony Romo could not do this.
I think Sam Bradford was.
You don't think Tony Romo?
No, I don't think Tony Romo, because Tony Romo could. Tom Brady wins playoff games that Tony Romo loses.
It's the same thing that you could say about Phillip Rivers.
No, I don't think Phillip Rivers was the place kick holder that fumbled the ball in a playoff game and then got up and tried to throw it to nobody.
Where was Phillip Rivers in the AFC divisional round?
Phillip Rivers has had a team around him 3 of his years.
If he were elite,
Come on, man.
like Joe Flacco, he probably put up a fight.
Bad teams.
Thank you.
So is Joe Flacco.
Tony Romo has choked playoff games away way worse than Rivers. Rivers stands on the sideline while his defense gives up touchdowns. Tony Romo throws interceptions and fumbles place kicking. Yeah.
Why don't you leave Tony Romo alone?
I don't think he'd be a good coach. I hate people that are saying that he would be a coach.
You've said that. That's the second time you mentioned that, Paul. Leave him alone.
That's disgusting.
He could be a good defensive coordinator.
Here, you guys are going to argue with me on this one. Deshaun Watson could not do this. I don't think that durability-wise.
No, not with Houston.
I don't think so.
But again,
it's the Patriots. You're thinking with the Patriots.
Right.
I still don't think so, though. I don't think Deshaun could do it.
That's the thing. It's this for some reason the mobile quarterback just doesn't.
I don't think you should give a lot
work.
I don't think you should give a lot of durability questions with one torn ACL. Tom Brady's had a torn ACL too.
Right.
Okay, true.
So
we can move, but he's still young. We can move Deshaun to the maybes. You know who's a maybe? Hall of Famer, Matt Hasselbeck.
Matt Hasselbeck. He's a pretty good quarterback. He was a pretty good quarterback.
He's maybe. Not a yes, he's maybe. Went to a Super Bowl.
Didn't win.
No, and also said, we want the ball and we're going to score.
Threw a pick 6.
Against the Packers.
He's a maybe. I say no.
Another long-term quarterback that is a maybe based on durability and starts Vinny Testaverde, because you got to think of start of Brady's career, quarterbacks that were there. Vinny Testaverde's a maybe.
No.
But a yes, Donovan McNabb and Kurt Warner.
No.
What?
Yes to Kurt Warner, no to Donovan McNabb.
How no?
Because Donovan McNabb had, granted he only had one guy, it was T.O., but if he was in the Patriot system, I just don't. Donovan
McNabb is more of a playmaker,
right? And
so he's not necessarily the
okay, mold. I hear you there. Yeah,
I understand that he went to the NFC Championship 3 years in a row, but he only won once, and he lost the Super Bowl. I just don't think he was clutch enough, and I don't think he can make the big plays.
That's what helps Tom Brady a lot. That's gene.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I don't think Donovan McNabb.
He's able to lead drives late in games. Now, as you look at most of his Super Bowls
Kurt Warner,
field goal kicking.
Tom
games.
Brady, I think, tarnishes a little bit of Kurt Warner's legacy in a way, because if he could have beaten Tom Brady, that would have been back-to-back Super Bowls.
Oh, yeah. And we would view him so differently.
He was San Antonio Holmes' circus catch in the end zone away from winning a second one with Arizona. So I think very much Kurt Warner could do that.
Kurt Warner is one of those guys that's on the cusp of being viewed so differently. Same as how we would think of Jim Kelly.
Right.
If he would have been
the first one, he would have been exactly.
Yeah, he would have been the first.
We would call him a top 10 quarterback of all time.
But and that's the thing about Kurt Warner. I still think he's a legendary quarterback. But could you just imagine if he had 3? If he had that one extra one against Brady?
Mm-hmm.
It could have stopped this whole thing, Kurt Warner. This is your fault.
My last 2 maybes are 2 young guys without the clutch gene. Mitchell Trubisky, I don't think he could do this. Maybe we'll see.
Oh, absolutely not.
We'll see, because he did lead the drive in the playoffs.
He seems like
and the kicker missed the field
double
goal.
doink.
Yeah,
he's had moments where he shows himself as.
We'll see.
I use game manager as a positive term. You can be a game manager and be a playoff team.
You would say Tom Brady's a game manager.
Tom Brady is a game manager, but that's a good thing. Tom Brady is the best game manager in the history of football.
As long as they take care of the football, that's nothing wrong with that.
And Jared Goff. Oh.
Jared Goff
is a no.
He showed in the Super Bowl.
I wrote this in the maybe column before the Super Bowl, before he pooped on national television. There was that play where I think it was Hightower coming in the second half, coming completely unblocked. And you can you see it from behind Goff's head, but you see him recognize this linebacker has a clear path to him, and then he just panic throws the ball up, and it was one of his interceptions. But it was just one of those moments where you're like, this is not a guy for this level of play.
He wasn't. Well, I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that he could be. I just think that it showed that the 1 week link, and I didn't believe it throughout the season because he had a pretty decent regular season, but the 1 weak link of that offense is Jared Goff because you have really talented receivers. You have Todd Gurley.
Oh, he definitely showed himself as the weak link. Or their offensive line showed their age because they do have some like older guys in their 30s on their offensive line that they kind of prided themselves on cohesion, togetherness, experience, but they really seem to be out athleticized, if I can coin that term, in this game.
I would say even against the Saints, even they like early on versus the Saints, they were not playing very well. But that's the Can we talk about that real quick? What is Sean McVay's issues with Todd Gurley? We got to figure that out.
I don't think he has issues with Todd Gurley. I think that he got in his own head a little too much and thinks, "Ooh, I can use C.J. Anderson as my secret weapon." But everybody just saw it happen.
I think it was part of that. Sean McVay took responsibility.
I think Gurley
said it was his fault.
I don't think they have problems with Gurley. I think that Gurley just wasn't given the touches in the scheme.
He had 10 carries though.
All right, four final
why
quarterbacks.
Did he only have 10
that's
carries?
right. That's only 10. As I said it in my head, I was like, "That's not a good."
He's an MVP candidate. Only 10 carries. That's the sentence right there. But 4 more quarterbacks of the last 20 years that could not do this. Teddy Bridgewater couldn't do this. Durability.
No.
He has potential, but durability can't do it. Michael Vick could not do this. Man, that would be cool.
Are you just naming mobile quarterbacks? I guess Teddy Brady.
My next one's RG3.
I was gonna say, I knew it was. That's where it just goes.
RG3 couldn't do this. Durability. He's in his own head. RG3 still thinks that he is like.
It's RG knee.
RG knee thinks that the NFL is the Big 12 and he can out here run around holding the ball in his hand like this,
He did,
and he just gets
he did it for 1 year,
and he gets
to the playoffs. Like he tore it up for a while.
Final guy on the list of positive no's. Fitzmagic, the one and only. Who could it be?
Why do you take jabs at me?
He couldn't do it. Agree with me.
I know it's true, but why
he could do it for 1 year. He would win one Super Bowl.
He could be the Matt Castle, but even better than the Matt Castle was.
Yes, he would be. He would win one Super Bowl with the Patriots because it would be his Harvard year, where he just goes in, studies, does all this thing, and then he gets the money and he just skates, grows a beard.
That would be my life.
Hangs out with his black receivers to give him chains and sunglasses.
That would be my life. That Fitzmagic goes and wins the Super Bowl.
I still got more quarterbacks that could do this. You know, that's how unspecial Tom Brady is. You know how unspecial Tom Brady is? Drew Bledsoe could do this. That one was easy. That was one of my first names on the list, dude.
I'm going to turn your mic off.
Drew Bledsoe could do this. They were on the path.
I'm going to turn your mic off.
If Drew Bledsoe was a rookie the year Tom Brady was a rookie, like you got to think of it that way. Age-wise, Drew Bledsoe could have done this because he still was successful after the Patriots. You know who else could do this? Pat Mahomes. Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
He had his chance.
Pat Mahomes.
No,
Pat Mahomes
really.
could
His
do
defense
this.
lost in that game.
Pat Mahomes could do this with the Patriots. Jimmy Garoppolo could have done this with the Patriots.
Oh, my God.
Jimmy Garoppolo never lost as a Patriot.
Jimmy Garoppolo was
Jimmy
undefeated.
G-String was undefeated at the end of when they brought him into the 49ers.
And yeah, exactly.
Last 5 games he won.
Last season was his first loss as a starting quarterback in the NFL.
And he also, I think
he was.
I love the myth.
10 games.
The myth that is Jimmy G because we don't know.
He hasn't played.
We don't know.
He still hasn't played.
We really don't know. He's like Carson
He got all that money though.
He's like, oh yeah, bro. He is. I need to know the snaps at quarterback versus dollars made, and that has to be. It has to be him and Fitzmagic.
it's true. Well, it's funny is I like to call him Jimmy G-String because
I love it.
Derek and I came up with that name because we were talking about how he was going on a date with a porn star, and he just immediately was just like, because I said I said
own it, dude.
Jimmy G-Spot, but he said
Draymond was out here
Jimmy G-String, and I'm like, that's better. That's better. Dude, he said, I'm a professional athlete. Why not go out with
live life, bro? Two names
star.
left. 2 names left. Out of 17 guys. 17 guys could do what Tom Brady has done. 17 guys. Final 2, I saved these for last because people aren't going to agree with me, but they know I'm right. Dak Prescott could do this. Dak Prescott. Come on.
He runs that offense with the New England offense with Dallas, and he still can't win. Are you kidding? Come on.
Dallas is hampered by their coaching.
Dallas is hampered by this mythical idea that they're this really like this important. Well, they are.
You know who's going to be their next head coach is John Kitna or
the Cowboys have
what's his name? The Boise State quarterback that's now their OC.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore or John Kitna is going to be their next head coach.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
He was a quarterback.
Yeah, he was. If it's not Romo.
Dak Prescott can't do it with Dallas because Dallas hasn't been relevant.
But he could do
years.
it with New England because he's a guy that comes in, works hard, puts in the reps.
But Paul,
leads
he runs
a team.
an offense now, and he can't do it. Is
But
what I'm saying.
he's an on-field leader, not a play caller.
And he has Zeke, and he can't win. How does that happen?
Because I would rather
I take that back. He's been to the playoffs twice in his 4 years?
3 years.
3 years.
You know, the Patriots running back system is so intricate that it's worth more than Zeke.
But
in my opinion,
what I'm saying
what
is
the Patriots do with running backs is more valuable than Zeke Elliott.
Here's what I'm saying.
On the whole,
Are you effing kidding
I
me?
firmly believe that.
No.
Ezekiel Elliott
The three-headed machine that they can use.
No.
I'm about to quit this show. Are you trying to tell me Ezekiel Elliott, who, if Todd Gurley didn't exist, is the greatest running back in the NFL right now? Are you kidding me? He's number 1 running back in the NFL.
I would put Zeke ahead of Todd Gurley.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Zeke's a great
That's what I'm
running
saying.
back.
They're interchangeable.
Incredible.
Zeke
And he's only getting better because he's developing his pass catching ability.
He single-handedly defeated the Alabama defense.
Zeke Elliott
Cool, he still couldn't beat the Packers.
Zeke Elliott is incredible.
See, you just proved my point. Because they can get to the playoffs, but they can't win.
I think
Sure, they beat the Seahawks.
Dak Prescott within the Patriots system, I think he could do it. Final name. This is the crescendo, the exclamation point. Future Hall of Famer Matt Stafford could definitely do what Tom Brady's doing. Durability. He's got the numbers. He's got the quarterback ability.
But he plays through injuries.
He's a leader. He's a stoic guy. He takes a lot of money, but he's willing to play for whoever.
That's the thing. I've said this for years. I would have killed for Tampa to have a quarterback like Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford is just in the worst program in pro sports. Like, honestly,
He just gets beat up because he doesn't have a line.
on the whole of their franchise, the Lions' best 2 players in team history retired when they were 30 years old because they couldn't play for that franchise anymore. You really got to put it in context that this is how bad that, it's kind of the city to an extent too. Nobody, like Blake Griffin was pissed when he got traded to Detroit. You don't want to go to Detroit these days.
Oh yeah, it's a hellscape.
Yeah, exactly. I've watched Flint.
Shout out to there are a few Michigan listeners.
Yeah, DMAC basketball players from Michigan listening right now. I'm really sorry.
Do they? I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard they have a RoboCop statue in Detroit. To which I say that is the coolest thing I've ever heard. And if I ever go to Detroit, I will gladly take a picture with the RoboCop statue.
To recap, the quarterbacks that could do what Tom Brady has done.
So dumb. I can't believe we
Russell
signed off on
Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck, Matt Stafford, Drew Brees, Nick Foles, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, Kurt Warner, Matt Stafford, Donovan McNabb, Drew Bledsoe, Pat Mahomes, Jimmy G, and maybe Dak Prescott.
Joe Flacco. Don't forget Joe Flacco.
Well, that's going to definitely
This is the Joe
get some
Flacco
feedback.
episode,
This is
baby.
the Joe Flacco. We've had the Gruden episode. This was the Flacco episode. Guys, I'll see you next week where we can get into some more not NFL talk unless we get another big trade. We'll see you then.
Wait. Comment below whether or not you think Joe Flacco is elite.
Please. All right, well, for the Loud Sports Podcast with Brandon Plecker and Jake Williams, I'm Paul Rubidoux, and we'll see you next week.